You may not know it yet, but you might actually be frugally chic. Okay, so you've seen the term frugal chic trending on social media. It's always around the context of underconsumption, particularly among Gen Z. But what you may not actually know is I coined it. And of course, in the past, people may have talked about being frugal and chic at the same time, but I kind of made the wording a trend. And since then, it's been featured in publications like Who What Wear. So today I want to break down what frugal chic actually means, how it was founded, and what are the strict 10 rules of life that the frugal chic follows. Stay till the end so you don't miss out. If you don't know me, I'm Mia and I talk about personal finance, investing, self-improvement, underconsumption. Basically, my whole ethos is I want to build wealth in my 20s. And one of the ways that I like to do that is to save money. Okay, so here is the backstory. The reason why I started making those frugal chic videos, someone commented under one of my videos that I give off the perfect mix of being frugal and like quiet luxury. But I thought, yeah, that's a bit of me. I am a mix of frugal and chic because if you also don't know, I have been a content creator for the last year, but I've been doing it alongside my 9 to 5, which is working in fashion. The two actually go hand in hand very well. I think the most attractive people are a juxtaposition of two vastly different things. So I made a video talking about my ethos behind frugal chic, and these are things and habits that I just do anyway. For example, I don't buy iced lattes or coffees every single day. I'll get one when I'm with a friend. For me, I love cooking at home, finding a recipe, like getting all the ingredients, enjoying cooking over a nice glass of wine. That to me is very chic, instead of getting Deliveroo, which to me is always disappointing anyway. I buy 90% of my wardrobe secondhand on Vinted or thrifting. And don't get me wrong, I used to be a major shopaholic. I would have parcels left, right, and center, but that was in my like mid to late teens. And going into my early 20s, I wanted to build like my forever wardrobe. And this is something that I feel like the frugal chic philosophy helps me achieve, because I have these lofty, ambitious financial goals of like retiring early, becoming a millionaire in my potentially 30s or 40s. And I'm not going to do that if I am literally spending more than I'm making. Another part of the frugal chic ethos is using like plain skincare and makeup, like no perfume, no fancy ingredients, just the bare minimum. Obviously investing in an occasional serum here and there, and also like the occasional luxury splurge. So that's like what I've always followed as a person. It kind of got incarnated into this concept or this avatar. It resonated, these videos blew up, and it's a real shame that I didn't start making YouTube videos sooner, because I've seen some people make videos not crediting me, which is totally fine because maybe they didn't know. But to me, frugal chic is not just a trend, it's my identity. If you have been following my personal finance journey of building a 6-figure net worth by 24, then you'll know that this is really important to me. Even as I've evolved as a person, you can literally see the evolution of how I've grown through my content. Literally started making videos in my childhood bedroom, sellotaping my phone to a window. I was doing a job in fashion at the same time, like literally squeezing in 5 a.m. a video here, an evening a video there. And I have recently made content creation my full-time thing, which is so insane to say. And I recently just had my first 5-figure month, and I really recommend you check out my TikTok, because this is where I do regular updates about my financial progress. But yeah, even though I made a 5-figure month, I am not spending more. I'm not giving into that kind of lifestyle creep. Of course, if I want to invest in something that I think will genuinely improve my life, then I will. But if not, then it's not worth it to me. So my frugal habits during all of that have remained the same, and I remain with the same philosophy that yes, you shouldn't scrimp and save, and that tomorrow is never guaranteed. However, it is really good to be strategic and intentional with your money. So first off, we have to clear the air. What does frugal actually mean? I feel like the word frugal gets a bad rep because it's linked to being an extreme saver. And if you look up Reddit slash frugal, you will see what I mean. People getting excited that they saved 7p on some Aldi milk from walking 30 minutes extra. Like, that to me is a level of frugality that I don't resonate with. Of course, I love a good bargain, but I won't be like counting the pennies, if you get what I mean. Being too cheap in life can cost you more. You've probably heard the phrase, buy it nice or buy it twice. That is very much true. What I wanted to do with Frugal Chic is completely flip that narrative. Frugality doesn't mean a lack, it doesn't mean boring, and it also doesn't mean settling for less. It doesn't mean that you necessarily think small. You actually might be an entrepreneur or have really big business ideas, but you just don't want to be a consumer. You don't, like, of course we can't all escape the fact that we're all consumers to some level, but you want to be a creator, a producer in some way. And therefore, consuming products and consuming endless bits of short form content is not part of your strategy. Frugal Chic is about intentionality. It's about rejecting mindless overconsumption while still valuing taste, quality, and freedom. The key word there is freedom, which I'll talk about later. Think about it like this. Instead of a cluttered wardrobe full of fast fashion pieces, she's got an eclectic wardrobe filled with things that she's built up with over time. So it might be like a band t-shirt from a concert she got years ago, an ex-boyfriend's hoodie, the perfect t-shirt that she found at Cos, or like a sentimental silk scarf she got on holiday. It's eclectic, it's built over time. She believes that style can't be bought. Instead of going to Boots or Space NK and like buying the latest trending product, she doesn't care about the next viral serum. She wants something that actually works for her skin. She will use products high to low, like simple face wash, and then like an expensive serum, and mix the two because she knows that some things are worth splurging on and others aren't. A face wash is something that is literally just taking off your makeup, washing off the day. It is literally, you know, if you've thought about the cost per wear, it's getting washed off your face so quick, whereas a serum is staying on your face, it's marinating. This is her kind of mindset with everything. I think a key thing is she invests in quality, so she's not afraid to invest in a nice pair of loafers, a nice pair of silk pajamas, these timeless staple pieces. And you may be thinking, oh, this is just another form of minimalism or a sad beige life. Definitely not. Like, the frugal chic could be someone that has a really maximalist style, but she doesn't necessarily have to be maximalist in the quantity, if you get what I mean. So the key thing about being frugally chic is that she has hobbies outside of consumption. It kind of seems that these days, consumption is a form of entertainment or hobby. You go on TikTok, you have TikTok Live, you have TikTok Shop. Like, there's so many things that you could potentially buy these days. It is actually a massive flex to reject that and to be like, I'm not following that. She unsubscribes from her, you know, marketing emails. She values hobbies, creativity, and knowledge instead of consumption of products. Whether it's spending a rainy afternoon at a library or writing an essay on some political topic that she's interested in and putting it on Substack, this is where I see the frugal chic. She's quite intellectual, she's quite high taste, and her hobbies and things that she enjoys are quite low cost. This isn't always deliberate. They just happen to be low cost because capitalism, overconsumption, it convinces you that the only way to truly enjoy yourself and to treat yourself is by spending money, is by buying a face mask, all of these things. At the core of the frugal chic philosophy, she believes that the true things in life, money can't buy. The key part, as I mentioned before, is freedom. The frugal chic's philosophy is that ultimately she does not want to have zero agency forever. If you are frugal, you likely care about your finances. Why? Because you have some kind of goal for your future. The frugal chic wants to be an entrepreneur, not in the sense of like starting a drop shipping course or something like that. She wants to have some kind of side hustle, some kind of personal brand outside of her 9 to 5 that she's building so that one day she can have total freedom of her time and money. It doesn't necessarily have to be financial freedom. As you guys know on my TikTok, I talk a lot about financial independence to retire early, which is a fairly extreme concept to a lot of people. You don't have to go down that line. It could be career freedom. Maybe she wants to be a freelancer. It could be lifestyle freedom. She wants to move to a different country or something like that where the cost of living is lower. Whatever it is, she has different goals in mind than the average person. By saying that, I'm not saying that I think I'm better than the average person. I'm merely just saying that there is a sense of average. There's a sense of a normal life, and the frugal chic actually wants to reject that. She doesn't care if she's seen as a little bit extreme for wanting to save money because she knows that having a 6-figure net worth, having a personal brand, these are all things that are leverage. These are all things that are actually going to get her ahead in life. So that's actually what being frugally chic is. It is a mix of luxurious skincare products, but it's also the ethos behind that, the freedom, the goals. So you're thinking, Mia, this sounds great, but how do I actually become frugally chic? She sounds very like in charge of her finances and knows what she wants. Number 1 is don't spend more than you make. This sounds super obvious, but this is obviously what gets you into debt. If you earn £2,000 a month, but your credit card allowance is £4,000, you don't need to go and spend the £4,000. You can't afford to. And just because you have that money available, it's not your money, it's borrowed money. And don't get me wrong, I use a credit card, but I ensure I pay it off in full at the same time every month so that I don't carry over a balance or rack up interest. So the Frugal Chic knows that there's certain ways that she can be tactical about her finances. One thing she will not be doing is living above her means. Now, people get confused when they hear living below your means. That doesn't mean being extremely frugal. It just means spending less than you make. And she can only do that with some kind of budgeting tool. So I use this budgeting spreadsheet that you can find on my Stan store, and I've been using it for the last year, and lots of you guys have used it and enjoyed it. Also, you could track your finances on the go with budgeting apps like Emma, but that's honestly really helpful, and I use that to track my net worth too. Being in control of your finances, spending less than you make, is entirely at the center of the ethos of the Frugal Chic. Number 2 is invest in quality, buy it nice or buy it twice. As I mentioned before, the Frugal Chic is not afraid to splurge on something that she thinks will last a long time. For example, when I moved out of my parents' home, moved into my first flat, I was debating what vacuum cleaner to buy. I was originally thinking, should I cheap out and get like a £50 one? But after several experiences of like a hair straightener breaking, all of these things, I realized that, look, if I am going to buy something that I'm going to have for the next 5-10 years, I want it to be good quality. So I bought a Dyson vacuum cleaner. Being cheap costs you more, and being cheap and frugal are not the same thing. Being frugal is about being mindful of your finances. Number 3, cut what doesn't matter. Part of being frugal is noticing things that you just don't care about or you dislike spending money on. A lot of people who think being frugal is a waste of time or it's a bit sad, they're people that will happily spend money on things that they do not care about. This could include cancelling a free trial that you forgot about, not caring enough to find a better deal on your bills. The Frugal Chic really does care about having to spend money on things that she just does not care about. Number 4 is mixing high with low. The Frugal Chic is actually very tasteful, and she thinks that taste transcends price tag. She invests in her basics and thrifts her fun pieces. Number 5 is knowing when to indulge. Deprivation isn't chic. So occasionally buying a nice candle to unwind with. There are things that you can do in life that are very luxurious, intentional, but depriving yourself of things is definitely not the Frugal Chic. She will be investing in whole foods. She loves to eat healthy because when she's healthy, her mind is healthy, and then she work on her side hustle better and run her business better. She never comes from a place of scarcity, like I can't afford to do something, that she doesn't deserve something. Is completely the opposite. She has a high sense of self, and therefore, like her attention, does not give her money away easily. Number 6 is by romanticising life. Part of the Frugal Chic aesthetic is very much a cashmere jumper with a good old pair of jeans, a classic pair of loafers, and just chilling in a park, at a coffee shop, working on her laptop, romanticising a herbal tea, or watching her favourite show. The little moments in life are what matters. If you can't enjoy a nice cup of tea and appreciate that and be grateful for that, how are you going to be appreciative of being on a yacht? I think that your gratitude for the everyday carries over to those larger, bigger life experiences. Number 7, freedom is the ultimate goal. The 9 to 5 is not forever for the Frugal Chic. She has very ambitious goals and she will be achieving them through her spending habits. Now, you can only save so much. She is not trying to save her way to wealth. There's other things going for her, like a side hustle, a business, a personal brand. These are all things she's building alongside. But when you pair building your personal brand with cutting out unnecessary expenses, you get a superpower. A lot of people think, I shouldn't cut anything out and I'll just build and increase my income. That's great, but if you're spending all of that income, then you're back to square one. 8 is investing is a lifestyle. Okay, so I have to preface this by saying this is not financial advice. Your capital is at risk when investing. But the Frugal Chic loves the idea that the assets can pay for her lifestyle. Maybe she's read too many personal finance books, but she's just in that mindset where she's like, you know what? If I want to buy like some designer goods or just waste my money a little bit, I'll do it with my assets. I'm going to build those first before living that lifestyle. Number 9 is creating more than you consume. I really feel that the Frugal Chic creates. She writes Substack blog posts. She probably posts on social media. Or if she doesn't want to show her face, she definitely has a fashion blog or something like that. Some form of creation, whether it's writing. This is one way that she trains her brain and essentially train your mind as well as your body. Number 10 is less is more. Think minimalism with a bit of personality. She has the minimalism ethos that less is more, that she only needs the things that bring her value and joy in her life, but she doesn't need to change her aesthetic to get there. She simply just uses what she has and doesn't overconsume. That way, her style could be very eclectic. It could be a mix of many different aesthetics. It doesn't have to be a sad beige minimalist life. So what is the true meaning of frugal chic? Well, I narrowed it down to living luxuriously but spending intentionally. What started as a comment under a TikTok video has now turned into a whole movement. And guys, to be honest, I was almost not going to post that video. I thought it was kind of weird that this concept didn't exist yet. I didn't want to be the first one to say it because I thought, what if it doesn't catch on? What if I just look like an idiot? But that's the thing. Like, if you don't post, you don't know. I can tell you that every single time I've had that feeling that the post might flop, it has actually been a success. So definitely keep that in mind when you're making content. If you want a more detailed breakdown, make sure you subscribe to my newsletter below. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and subscribe so you don't miss out on further videos.